50,000 subscribers. When you think about it, it's a pretty crazy number. I often don't dwell on my subscriber count. The last time I got really excited about a milestone was 1,000, which feels like forever ago at this point. And I got that within my first month of doing YouTube, so that happened really quickly. Honestly, I've let most of my milestones just kind of brush by me. I haven't really dwelled on them for too long. I do think I'll get very excited about the 100,000. If that ever happens, I think that one will feel good. But 50,000 is definitely an important milestone, and while I didn't have anything planned necessarily for a 50,000 subscriber video, I thought it'd be fun to do a Q&A style thing, especially because I don't really get to interact with you on like a personal level pretty much at all, because my channel is pretty much exclusively just talking about, speculation, analysis style videos, news, all of that. So I don't really get the time to answer your questions or talk to you about whatever you want to talk about. So I thought that this would be the perfect medium to do that. So I made a post on my community tab about wanting to do a Q&A, and I've got about 70 questions here I'm going to be going over. I don't know if I'm going to answer them all. We'll see. But this is going to be a pretty relaxed, non-scripted video. We're just going to go over some of these questions and see where we end up. Do you have a favorite video and why? Honestly, not really. Like I just said, my channel pretty much consists of news and speculation and things like that. So I don't have any video that I'd be like, hey, if you have to watch one of my videos, go watch this one, because it's all kind of relevant to what's happening at the time. I do want to do some more general videos that are kind of timeless, and I do have a couple of those ideas kind of floating around in my head. It's just a matter of actualizing them, and maybe you guys will see stuff like that in the next couple months. But if I had to pick a favorite video that exists right now, it would probably have to be some of my Jump Force coverage. One of the things that I really didn't like about the way that the community handled Jump Force is no one really had realistic expectations, where I felt like a lot of my videos were like, hey guys, calm down, this probably isn't going to happen. Like, I don't know how many of you guys remember, but leading up to the release of Jump Force, even when there was only like a month left, people thought we were going to end up with 180 characters, 70 characters, like in that range of character count. And I felt like that me and Griffin Station were the only people with a realistic mindset saying that we were going to get somewhere between 40 and 50 characters. So I know that's not exactly answering the question, but I really like the way that I kind of realistically covered that scenario, because there were some really unrealistic expectations going around at the time. If you could have any power and ability, what would you have and why? I don't know. Teleportation sounds interesting, especially if I can teleport large distances. Like if I can just go to America and go hang out with some people that I'm never going to get the chance to meet otherwise, that'd be really cool. And then also have the ability to just hop back to my area. Yeah, that would be awesome. What is your favorite video game of all time? Oh, that's a dangerous question. The game I've spent the most time with is a free-to-play card game called Hearthstone. I have a ridiculous amount of hours played in that game. I have over 10,000 wins in ranked and all of that good stuff. Growing up, my favorite game was definitely Pokemon Emerald. What anime is currently your favorite? My favorite thing about this comment is the reply that says, did you really have to ask that? I'm guessing that this guy thinks I'm going to say My Hero Academia, but honestly, I don't even think it is My Hero Academia. I love My Hero Academia. You're never going to hear me talk bad about My Hero Academia. I think it's really, really good. But right now, I'm really high on Demon Slayer, man. I've been rewatching it to take notes for other videos that I'm going to be doing surrounding the Demon Slayer game, and I'm really high on the aesthetic of Demon Slayer right now, so it's really close between those two. But you know how it is. Your favorite anime changes so much over time, so don't hold me to that. I have no idea. I gotta know, who's your favorite JoJo? Now keep in mind, I've only seen part 1 through 3. I didn't continue onto 4 and 5, so I'm not going to count Giorno and Josuke and Jolin and all the other JoJos after that. I'm just counting Joseph, Jonathan, and Jotaro, and between those, Jotaro is definitely my favorite. What do you think of the new Fairy Tail game? I think it looks really good. I'm not huge into Fairy Tail. I've tried it a couple times and it's not my thing. It's not my cup of tea, but I'll definitely play the game because I like turn-based strategy games and the game looks beautiful, and you never know, I might fall in love with Fairy Tail through that game. That's what happened with Dragon Ball Z Kakarot for me. If you could choose an anime to live in, which one would it be? Ooh, there's two answers to this question, right? Do I get my super awesome powers that I would get in that world, or do I just take myself and put myself in that world? If I had to take the current version of myself and put it in any anime world, I would go to the world of Yu-Gi-Oh! Because I could dominate in that world, okay? I'm a better duelist than Yugi Muto, I'll say that right now. So I will go be the king of games, that's what I'll do. But if I get to have super awesome cool powers that I would in any of these worlds, I don't know, maybe Boruto, right? Because they live a fairly happy society outside of the conflict that's going on right now. So I could just kind of go off in my own little world and exist and live a happy life. That would be my objective. Wherever I can get my happy life, that's where I'm going. What's your favorite game and why did you start YouTube? Well, I answered my favorite game before. Growing up, my favorite game was Pokemon Emerald. Why did I start YouTube? Well, I started doing YouTube videos because I wanted to have a voice on topics I thought weren't being covered correctly. So for example, one of the topics in Injustice 2 that wasn't covered very well is loot boxes. The popular opinion was that loot boxes are evil, and I agree that most loot box systems are that way, but loot boxes aren't inherently that, right? So Injustice 2, the way it works is you don't even spend money on loot boxes, you just kind of unlock them through playing the game. And I just wanted to make a video talking about that, and that video blew up a little bit, and the rest is history, right? Here's my channel that exists now. We ended up going in a completely different direction than I thought we would. Now we're doing anime gaming content, which I'm very, very happy about. I just kind of stumbled into this community. Will you only post anime games? That's a perfect follow-up question to what I just talked about. At the start of the year, I did a video about what my plans were for 2020, and in that video, I talked about how I probably want to move more towards fighting games when Project L is officially out. Project L is the code name that they're using for the League of Legends fighting game, but I've actually recently decided against that. I sat down and I thought about it for a long time, and I realized just how much I love doing what I'm doing here in this anime gaming space. Anime/anime games is where I want to be at. I might try to do some more general anime stuff. Like next year, I might try to do some anime reaction content, but for the most part, we're staying right here in this anime space. What would be your perfect anime game? I'm never going to get it. I'm fully aware that I'm never going to get it. I'm never going to get my hopes up for something like this, but Arc System Works making a My Hero Academia game would absolutely be my perfect anime game. What's your favorite anime of all time? Probably Death Note, maybe Promised Neverland. Promised Neverland's really, really good. I know it's new and people don't like you saying that it's your favorite of all time when it's new, but that's what I'm saying. But you know how it is. Your favorite anime changes a lot over time. A year from now, my answer to that question might be completely different. What are some games you wish got ported to Switch? Am I allowed to say everything? I'm not exactly sure if this is the answer to the question you're looking for, but I would really like to see a Nintendo DS or a Game Boy Advanced emulator for Nintendo Switch. It really sucks that there are so many Pokemon games that we just don't have access to right now on the Nintendo Switch, and I know Nintendo has the resources for that. I just don't think it's going to happen. How do you keep yourself from burning out when you make so much content? I guess I just don't really think about it like that. I could never consider myself burning out. I love what I'm doing, and I don't have any reason to not be doing what I'm doing, so yeah, I'm very happy with what I'm doing. I don't have a reason to be burnt out. Have you ever thought about streaming? Yeah, I've thought about streaming. It's something that would require a lot of time for me to do the way that I would want to. I would really want to put like a lot of effort into it and make it as quality as possible, and I'm just not in a position right now where I can do that. Maybe one day I'll be making enough money on YouTube that I can hire an editor, and then if I have an editor, I'll have more free time to do stuff like streaming, but I think we're a long way from that, and don't expect me to be streaming anytime soon. What does it take to grow a community and a channel on YouTube in 2020? So I started growing my channel 2 to 3 years ago, something close to that, and maybe it's different now, but I think the best way to grow your YouTube channel if you're just starting out, other YouTubers will tell you need to focus on making your content as good as possible. I don't think that's necessarily true. I started off with awful content and I got a lot of views for a small channel. I think the biggest thing is engaging in interesting discussion and talking about stuff that people want to hear you talk about. Obviously, that's going to be different for other people. What I do here is very discussion oriented. If you're like a comedy channel or something like that, I don't know what to tell you, but for at least what I do, I think the most effective means of growing is talking about interesting things that people want to talk about. Who's your favorite League of Villains member and pro hero? For the League of Villains, it's probably Darby or Shigaraki. It's definitely between those. For a pro hero, I'd probably have to say Endeavor. I don't really like Endeavor as a person. I just think he's an interesting character to have on screen. Who do you want to see appear as a guest character in Injustice 3? I've actually thought about this a lot, and I would like to see Ruby Rose. I know I'm like a huge Ruby stan or whatever, but it's weird. You can find a video of me 2 years ago saying that I don't think Ruby would ever get an Injustice 2 or Injustice 3 or anything like that. But I do actually think there's a chance for Ruby, because since those 3 years, Ruby has actually become a part of the DC universe. Not really a part of the DC universe, but Ruby as a franchise is being published underneath DC Comics. So in theory, there's a connection there that the two companies could work together, and maybe Ruby Rose could be in Injustice 3. I would love that. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying that's who I would very much like to appear in Injustice 3. Favorite anime? Simple question, but I'm curious. Again, the answer to this changes a lot. Depending on when you ask me, I'll say Attack on Titan, Promised Neverland, My Hero Academia, Demon Slayer, Death Note. Those things are probably in the conversation for me though. I'll ask one controversial question, sub or dub? It depends, obviously. For me, I slightly prefer dub unless the dub is awful. Like if the dub is just done by some very small studio with just bad talent, which is pretty rare to be honest, well then I'll switch over to the sub. But for the most part, I'll watch dub if given the option. Would you ever consider doing anime/manga reviews? I think it would be interesting, and good luck on reaching 100k, and congrats on 50. Thank you so much. I have thought a lot about doing anime and manga reviews. The problem is the way I would want to do it would take so much time. I would want to be as analytical as possible. I would want to make sure that none of my biases affect any anime or manga review. I would want to be as objective as possible, and that requires spending a lot of time critically analyzing the way that I think about certain things, and quite frankly, it's a time commitment that I can't commit to. Talking about the Weekly Shonen Jump Big 3, One Piece, Bleach, and Naruto, which one do you prefer? For any answer, who is your favorite character in the series? Congrats on 50k. Thank you so much. Wow, I actually have to think about this. That's crazy. It's between Naruto and One Piece for me because my experience with Bleach is fairly limited. I watched it a long time ago, like only the first 30 episodes or so, and I didn't like it, but I was a dumb idiot kid. It's very possible that I could rewatch Bleach today and I would love it. But for me, because I have such a limited experience with it, this question is basically One Piece or Naruto. Man, it's actually surprisingly close for me. I'll say Naruto because there's a lot of One Piece that I haven't experienced yet. And my favorite character from Naruto, oh, well, that gets complicated as well because do we count Boruto in that? Because if so, then Sarada. But assuming you just count default Naruto, I'll say Sasuke or Gaara. Probably one of those two. Who are you going to main in One's Justice and why? Right now, I really like Mina and I like Najire, but I haven't played enough to consider either of them my main. Can you do an office tour? We need to see the setup of one of the best anime game YouTubers. Well, I appreciate the sentiment, but there's not a lot of space in my office, so it's hard to do like a tour. You can basically sum it up in one image, but then again, it's crowded up in so much space that it's really hard to get all of it in one shot. I really like my office, it's just I don't have a lot of space. Who's your favorite and least favorite anime villain? So I won't give you my least favorite villain because I don't know the answer to the question, and I would have to think about it a lot. But my favorite anime villain is probably Pain. I remember liking Pain a lot. I actually haven't rewatched the Pain arc in a long time, but aesthetically that character is amazing. Just walking in and completely destroying the Hidden Leaf without much effort at all, really. It established him as such a big threat, and it made the fight between him and Naruto so much more interesting. I think that character was built up really well. Who is the best girl in My Hero Academia and why is it Toga? I don't really do the whole best girl thing. I think it's kind of weird, but my favorite character who happens to be female is Uraraka. Love your content, keep striving. I just want to know how far along you are with One Piece, and so far, who is your favorite character? The answer to the favorite character is Luffy. I like Luffy a lot. He was a surprisingly interesting MC. I did not expect to like him as much as I do. Right now, I am slightly after the time skip of One Piece. Initially, I intended to read through all of One Piece very quickly. But what ended up happening is I got really busy one week and another week. And another week. And now I'm just kind of taking my time with it. I really like that I have One Piece as this thing that I enjoy, that I don't have to rush through. There's so much One Piece content, and rushing through it all would be such a disservice. So I'm really just happy taking my time, reading one chapter at a time, and yeah, not really stressing about it at all. Do you plan on watching/reading Bleach since the anime's return will be announced? I was actually really hoping that it would be like a reboot of the anime, because it has been so long. I was hoping it was going to be basically a retelling of the story. Hunter x Hunter did that, and I was hoping that Bleach would get the same treatment. But unfortunately it did not. So if I do want to get into Bleach, I'll have to either read it or watch the old animation. I'm watching and reading new stuff every day, so I'm sure I'll eventually get around to Bleach. If they do get a game announcement, as I've done with multiple anime games at this point, I'll watch it or read it, depending on which one I feel like at the time, just to determine whether I'm excited about the game or not, basically. I did that with Kill la Kill, and I've done it with a couple other games, and I would do it for Bleach as well, right? Like if they announce a new Bleach game, I'll go read and watch Bleach, and then that'll determine whether I'm excited or not. If I enjoy it, then I will be. If I don't enjoy it, then I won't be. Hey BILBZY, congrats on the big 50k. I've been here since Injustice 2, wow. And I've been seeing your growth as a content creator. Will you be making more Grand Blue online match analysis videos? It was oddly entertaining and it helped me improve as a fighting game player. Well, I really appreciate that. I probably won't. It's a lot of time and effort to do those videos and they're not as successful as the other stuff that I'm doing, and quite frankly, I don't enjoy them as much. Maybe I'll do stuff like that for arena fighters because it is content that I do enjoy to some extent, and I am kind of curious to see how the anime gaming audience would react to that type of content. We'll see. I appreciate the question though. What do you have to say to people who hate Jump Force, and what inspired you to change your channel to anime games from Injustice? Well, changing my channel to anime games was a pretty easy decision because I started getting back into anime in my adult years after falling off through my teen years. So it was just a really exciting time and I wanted to cover anime as much as possible. And it's been a wonderful experience and I'm really happy to be here. What do I have to say to people who hate Jump Force? Hey man, hate what you want to hate. On the other hand, if you find someone who does like Jump Force, it doesn't mean you need to belittle them. them for that. Let them enjoy their game. What are your thoughts on the Bleach anime returning? Like I said earlier in this video, I'm excited for all the Bleach fans out there. I personally would have preferred a reboot because that would allow me to get back into the series a lot easier, but I'm happy for all the people who are already Bleach fans. What's your favorite scary movie character like Jason or Freddy? For me, it's Jason. I grew up on the Friday the 13th movies, so Jason all the way. Do you get anxiety or stress from YouTube? If so, how do you manage it? I wish I had a good answer here for you, but I just don't get anxiety or stress about YouTube, and I really never have, so I can't talk about that in depth, unfortunately. What's your favorite Marvel movie and or character? By the way, grats on 50,000. I remember finding your channel when Jump Force was announced and it'd grow. I'm assuming you meant and I thought it would grow or something like that. Keep it up. Thank you very much. I will. My favorite Marvel movie is Homecoming, and my favorite Marvel movie character is Spider-Man, or Peter Parker, to be more accurate. Here are my 3 questions. I don't think I ever agreed to this. Will we ever see Street Fighter game produced by either Arc System Works or CyberConnect 2? No, I don't think Capcom would ever give away that property. Will there be a Guilty Gear Warrior-style game? That would certainly be interesting. I wouldn't rule it out of the question, but I'm not holding my breath for it. And could you do a history of Mugen video sometime in the coming months or so? That sounds like an incredibly difficult video to do. Probably not. I mean, I certainly could do it. It would just take a long time. So yeah, don't hold the breath for that one. I appreciate the questions though. I've seen you in the comment section a lot, Steven. I really appreciate your support. Do you listen to Rust Age or any other anime rap community? I don't listen to any anime rap communities, but maybe I should. My 2 favorite music genres are metal and rap. I just don't know if like any of the anime rap communities have like the style of rap that I like. I like people like Tech9, Token, Eminem, kind of lyrical, fast rappers, stuff like that. So I don't know if I'm gonna get that in the anime rap community. Maybe there's some recommendations out there. Let me know. And will you say the name of Sanjay, for a friend who's a big fan? Hi, Sanjay. If you could get a dream crossover game, Marvel versus Capcom, BB Tag, etc., what franchises would you want to cross over? It's literally never going to happen. Do not continue to put this in my mind. It's never going to happen, I promise you. But the answer to the question is Weekly Shonen Jump and DC Comics. Do you plan on going to any conventions/fan meetups in the future? I actually wanted to travel quite a bit in 2020 and then possibly in 2021, but obviously there's a lot of travel restrictions right now, and for good reason. Obviously not right now in the foreseeable future. Once society kind of moves back to normal, you can probably expect to see me traveling in the future. I have 2 questions. When do you expect Once Justice 3 to launch, and what do you hope/think the roster size will be? I would expect the roster to move up like 15-ish characters, and probably sometime next year or the year after. I'm guessing sometime next year. What's your favorite fighting game? I know it's really hard to pick just one, so if it's too difficult, can you pick a few? My favorite fighting game to play, like if you asked me to go play a fighting game right now, it would probably be Grand Blue Fantasy Versus, but that's also probably going to change in about half a year or a year whenever we get the League of Legends fighting game, which I'm very excited about. Did you watch season 4 of Boku no Hero Academia? If yes, what was your reaction to the whole overhaul arc and the things that happened? Yeah, I liked season 4. It was good. It's kind of weird to talk about anime that you've already read the manga for, because it's like, oh, I knew that was going to happen. So you end up in this weird spot where you're kind of just judging how it was adapted than the actual story, which is not really how most people consume this type of media. I really wish I didn't have to read ahead for My Hero Academia or any of my other favorite anime, but what I do here kind of forces me to be informed. He also continues to ask a second question. Is there anything you can say to someone who wants to start a channel like yours? The biggest thing is that it's going to take a lot of time, a lot of dedication. You're gonna have to figure out how to do a lot of the stuff that is done here on YouTube. It's not as simple as learning one thing. You have to learn a lot of different things, but I wish anybody who's aspiring to start a YouTube channel all the luck in the world. If I had to give one piece of advice, I would say try to find things that you find interesting and just talk about them. That's what I did, but that's obviously not going to work for everybody. Try different things, see what works, see what doesn't, and then roll with what works. Do you plan to do any more streams like you did that one time with Jump Force? I had a ton of fun being able to actually play against you, and congrats on 50k, mate. Been here since you started covering Jump Force and watched every video since. Wow. Keep up the great work. Well, thank you so much. I probably won't be streaming outside of like big events. I thought about streaming for 50k, but I decided not to. If there's ever an important reason to stream, I will stream, but for the most part, you can just expect video content here. I might be doing some more community interaction stuff that allows people to play with me, but it's not going to be through live streams. Would a Yu-Gi-Oh fighting game work? Would you fight with monsters, spells, and traps using variations of characters from the anime? I think a Yu-Gi-Oh fighting game could absolutely work. It would just be very, very difficult to design. Basically, instead of playing Yu-Gi-Moto, you would play Dark Magician with Yu-Gi-Moto cheering him on, basically. There can be some exceptions to that rule. Maybe some certain characters can like punch or whatever, but for the most part, I think you would just fight with the monsters. And you can make really interesting movesets with that because you can incorporate spells, right? What if Dark Magician has a combo that ends with Swords of Revealing Light, and then he like resets you and does a Dark Magic attack or whatever that move's called, I forget the name of it, but you get the idea, right? There's a lot you could work with the Yu-Gi-Oh formula. I would love to see a Yu-Gi-Oh 2D fighting game. I just don't think we're getting it anytime soon. Do you have any speculations or hopes for PS5's launch? I would like a Ruby fighting game, even if it's unlikely. I'm right there with you. I would love a Ruby fighting game. I don't think it's happening either. As far as speculation goes, I'm actually expecting the next gen consoles to have a pretty rocky start. I'm expecting most of the games you play on the next generation console, at least for the first year, to be a lot of previous generation console games. That would be my speculation at least, but I'm no industry expert when it comes to that side of the industry, so don't take my word for anything there. Oh my god, we're actually on the last question. I don't believe it. How did you get your name? Does your name have any particular meaning behind it? And why did you start making YouTube videos? It's not a particularly exciting story. It's kind of silly. My real name is Billy, and a friend of mine jokingly called me BILBZY a couple times because it kind of sounds like Billy, but there's a Z in there and an extra B. And I just kind of rolled with it. I made it one of my online names, and here we are. And of course, I already talked about why I started making YouTube videos. Whoa, that was a lot of questions and a much longer video than I initially intended. We're over the 20-minute mark now, which is insane. Now, if you did manage to make it all the way through this video, I do have a special announcement of an announcement. If you did manage to make it this far, let me know by saying, I don't know, hashtag 20 at the end of your comment. That way I know you made it this far. But the announcement of the announcement is that I have 2 major projects in development right now. One of them is in very, very early stages. The other one's almost finished, and I'm almost ready to show you it, probably within the next month. Maybe a little bit longer. I'm not going to tell you what these projects are, of course, but let me tell you that I'm excited about both of them, and I'm particularly really excited about the second project. That one you guys won't hear about for a very long time, but I just wanted you to know that there is some behind-the-scenes stuff going on right now, and it is very exciting. Thank you so much for watching this video, and thank you so much for 50,000 subscribers. My name is BILBZY, and I'll be sure to catch you in the next video.